Good morning, welcome to Something Saturday. So as you can see, I seem to have exactly the same stamp set as I had last week. Oh look, it's called Shepherd's Care. I did go through it last week, but just in case you didn't see it last week, we've got praying that you will feel the Good Shepherd's care in this season and throughout the coming year. He heals the broken-hearted and binds up their wounds. Peace on earth, wonderful counsellor, Prince of Peace, mighty God, everlasting Father, and these other images. And I had a thought. Ooh, thoughts. And I'm hoping that it's going to work, because if it doesn't work, you won't be seeing this video. So we're going to start off, and I wanted to use this this key image in it again. So I'm going to start off by, ouch, hurting my thumb on it clearly, stamping it, the whole thing, with my early espresso ink pad. Let's make sure it's all inked. And we are going to pop it down there. Hopefully he's not on an angle. I've got a feeling he might be. Not too bad. Okay. Interesting. I'm not sure whether I actually like it in that colour. Funny how a different colour looks so different. Anyway, it's not going to completely stay in that colour. So then my thoughts were that I might cut out the images that kind of come in the foreground. So we've got this little lamb, and his headdress, whatever you want to call it, thing. So in order to do that, what I'm going to do is ink up that part, which will be sort of his headdress bit. Yep, that's good. I should be able to cut that out all right. Let's clean it off again. And then we want the lambs. I figured that the lambs should probably be in a lightish colour, because generally you think of lambs as being white. Although, to be honest, a lot of the lambs around here are quite dirty looking, so depends on how old they are, really. So then we will go with that little lamb there. That should be all right to cut out. And this little lamb here. And there we go. So then grab your scissors and get to work, and you just want to cut out the lambs and the headdress. I will speed up the video while I do that. So as you probably saw in that, I actually swapped the colours around completely. So I looked at the what I had down here and I thought, oh, that doesn't look very grassy, does it? So then I thought, well, maybe what I should do is use the mossy meadow for the whole thing to begin with and actually cut the shepherd out and pop him in and then add the other bits on top. So that's what we're going with now. So it's nothing like changing things at the last minute. And we will just pop that in the right place, hopefully. There we go. So that's my shepherd. I kind of figured I really didn't need to cut out his headdress again, so that could just sit on top of there. But what I was going to show you was, so I'm going to grab a couple of my dimensionals, and I actually want it to stand up and look like it's sort of curving round. So I'm just going to use my bone scorer just to sort of like curve things around a little bit on it, so that it looks like it's sort of standing out a little bit more. And then if I add a couple of dimensionals, I think I'll go with the small dimensionals on it. And one. Let's pop them down the center there. Then it kind of gives it more of a 3D look. And then I want to kind of do the same with the sheep as well, just give them a little bit of definition. Not 100% sure quite how I'm going to do that with the sheep, but you know. Yeah, I reckon that'll sort of work. So let's just pop a couple of these in. 2, 3. There's one sheep. Not sure how I'm going to do the same thing with this little sheepy. It's very cute. Just the one dimensional on this one, I think. Let's get him the right way round. So there he is. It just gives it a little bit of something different, and it's using the same stamp set in a different way. I'm just wondering whether I might colour his little thingo in there with something, ooh, something dark side. Hang on a minute. Maybe a little bit of a stamping blend. I'm just going to go with a bit of old olive there, just to colour that in. Oh, and maybe his sash as well. Sort of ties in a little bit with the grass down at the feet. And then I wonder, last week I didn't use this little one that's got the, I wonder if that's going to look a bit weird if it's floating in the air though. I kind of feel like it needs something leading up to it. This may not be the right card to use for that one. All right, we will go with a star instead. I wonder whether we can do that and that. So if we did, let's see, let's take off the piece on earth. Nope. Not that one, not that one. Let's go with this one. There we go. That was actually really thick. I've just removed one from this and then I didn't think to use it. Excellent. So the star, kind of feel like the star should be in a nice bright yellowy sort of colour. What have we got? A bit of Daffodil Delight, why not? And that should stamp over quite nicely. Let's just try it out. Yeah. Although stars are not generally gold in colour, are they? They're more of a silver colour. I always think of these things after I've done them. Never mind, we're sticking with a gold star now. Sounds like school, doesn't it? You can have a gold star for that. And we might even put it the right way up. What colour should we go with? We go with grey? Do we go? Let's go with one of the colours that we've got out, shall we? How about we mossy meadow it? Let's see whether I can persuade it to sit over top of that star. Should have probably done the star slightly further over this way so that it actually could go in the middle of it, but I quite like that. I do find that this particular set, you can actually make some really nice simple cards with it. It doesn't have to be really complicated. We will pop our piece on earth away. We don't need that. I wonder if we should use some snow. It's so funny because whenever I think of this sort of scene, it doesn't automatically conjure up snow to me. But I'm thinking about it, and I could go with this just sort of around the edges of the card. And I think we will use blue, grey, maybe the grey. Well, that's kind of nice. Wow, I really did dunk it into the ink pad then. Got ink everywhere. Right, let's pop that to one side. And I actually think the other thing I'm going to do with this is just dunk it along like this. You know what I'm like, I just like to edge things. They seem to look a lot nicer when they're edged slightly. Oh, I do love it the way these ink pads sit on top of each other and they look so neat and stackable and... oh. So now I just need to decide what I'm going to do with this. Give me a minute. So I decided on carrying on with the Mossy Meadow theme. So I'm just going to go ahead and attach this one onto this one. And I figure as well that it's going on dark coloured cardstock, so then what I've got on the other side of it isn't going to show through. Because remember, I had the other image stamped on the back of it, so you can't see it now. So woohoo! That is good. And then this one can sit onto here. And that's it. So it just gives a little bit of something different by raising it up on that. The other thing you could do, of course, is you could stamp his, I want to call it a dress, his robe and his headdress in so on designer series paper as well and create something from it. So I might look at doing that and pop it onto my blog. Again, I should have mentioned earlier that there is an absolutely incredible promotion going to join Stamping Up, which is, oh, blooming heck, again, I've forgotten it, so I'm going to put it into the comments. I will definitely put some info onto my blog about it, but it is actually the best joining special that I've ever seen. I think it's something like you pay half the price of the normal kit, but you actually still get the full so it's something like you pay $80 and you get $235 of goodies, something like that. I'll have to double check it. Oh, what an idiot. Okay, I will put it all onto my blog, so please go and check out my blog. That's what I've got it there for, is the stuff that I forget, which is quite frequent. Do come and join me next Saturday, and thank you for joining me today. Bye.